But why is it that before the advent of the Constitution and post the Constitution, the predominant choice of chancellors by successive governments has been of Muslim? That's certainly one factor which has to be borne in mind.
By government appointing a particular community, though the law does not require it to do, change the character of that university, Manoj? That the government keep on appointing Muslims, irrespective of Article 30, it's not established or administered.
As you rightly said, that we have to look at it in a holistic perspective.
Yes.
Could it possibly be a recognition of the fact by successive governments that this is how they have been perceived at an administrative level by the university itself?
Then they would not have required 81 amendment. If that was the interpretation, that is how it was being given, I'll come to, my lord, the periodical interpretations. Why I say, my lord, it need not be a Muslim, there is a reason. Your lordships have seen the provision of court, where there was a provision that all members shall have to be Muslim. That's the legal provision your lordship would bear in mind. Here it doesn't say the chancellor will have to be Muslim. Incidentally, he was a Muslim, he or she is different thing. That would not change your lordship's, my lord, adjudication whether this has a minority status or not.
There's one more thing. Suppose, let's assume it's a minority institution.
Yes.
In a case. The minority institution appoints a non-minority as the vice chancellor or chancellor. Will it make it non-minority?
It cannot. My lord, St. Stephens, reverse, your lordships are right. St. Stephens do not always appoint, my lord, principal from the Christian community.
Fairly speaking, therefore, when we look at the term administration, we'll have to take into account how actually it is administered on the ground.
The legal position, not de facto position. The legal position. My lord, in case of St. Stephens, my lord, it is never that only Christians were appointed as principals. Then it's bad. That's not the concept of a minority institution. But Lord, my point is, your lordships will go by the statutory provisions.
Because our law recognizes the power of the minority to appoint the head of the institution. No outsider can be foisted. You may choose somebody else. You may have a distinguished nuclear scientist who is not a minority.
Ideally not.
Choice. The element is not.
I'm not saying legally wrong.
The element is the choice.
I'm not saying legally wrong. You should not confine the benefit going to the students to one community. There may be many other eminent people, may not be belonging to a particular community, who can take the institute to a further height. But you can't deprive the students of that. That's what as an ideal position, not legally, it is wrong.
Okay. Article 30 in the end uses the word choice. If by choice a minority institution agrees to abide by certain terms and conditions in order to establish itself and get certain, say, a degree, will they lose that by choice? If they do it, will they lose their minority status?
It is a minority.
It is a minority institution.
Undisputed minority.
Yes. By choice, they agree to certain rules and regulations and even administrative overall supervisory control. Will they lose their minority status?
Not after the Constitution. If it is established after the Constitution, no. My lord, for example, take a flip side.
Why
take a flip side, my lord.
Once you accept that, then why not before the Constitution?
Lord,
because once you accept, then the administration is with them.
My lord, take a flip side of it. My lord, suppose in Banaras Hindu University, as a tradition of a gesture of goodwill, the government had continued. I'm giving a hypothetical example. Only Muslims are vice chancellors and Muslims in the position of power. Would it come, and I'm posing a question to myself, would it convert itself into a minority institution? If what example we are discussing is true, the reverse also has to be true. If de facto can change the de jure position, then, my lord, it should apply to everyone. And, my lord, there are some benefits to a minority institution. From tomorrow onwards, my lord, some institution can start converting itself into a minority by merely appointing people. Though law does not require, the statute incorporating it may not require. Well, all British, my understanding is right, all British authorities were Christians in those days. So, my lord, de facto, what is the position is, in my respectful submission, irrelevant. It may be a practice, it may be a political stand of the government, it may be, my lord, for various reasons, as the, my lord, in the initial Britishers also were requested that please, izzat ke liye, but that's the word which is used, take into account our feelings and have Muslims. Maybe that's the reason, but that doesn't define the character of the institution. But therefore, I say the way court mandates only consisting of Muslims with the provision
Let's
now.
quickly run through this chart so that we can go on to the next.
Here, Manoj, when I say need not be Muslim means the law doesn't require him to be Muslim. He may be Muslim, he may be any other religion. Chancellor need not be Muslim, pro-chancellor need not be Muslim. Manoj, throughout, I'm not reading it, up to proctor need not be Muslim. Then representatives of the department and colleges need not be Muslim. Some expert, my lord, in a chemical engineering branch may be sent as a member, my lord. He may not be Muslim. He may happen to be a Muslim. But the law doesn't say that a representative of department of colleges belonging to Muslim community. That's not the law. Need, therefore, my lord, I am carefully using the word need not be Muslim.
Okay, this, the chart annexure A is pre-1981 or post-1981?
As on date, as it stands.
And what was the position pre-81?
I have said, court is concerned, it was full Muslims. Till 51 amendment, it was deleted. 1951 amendment, which was deleted. I'll show that comparative.
So this chart, this is as it exists today.
As it exists today. And as it exists today, my lord, if your lordships were to go, need not be Muslim. My lord, when I say, my lord, representative.
There may be a slight problem in this because we have to deal with the whether it's an institution which was minority or not as on the date when the constitution.
Correct. This is irrelevant according to my submission.
So this 1981 amendment may not be so much, or post 1981
Yes.
may not be so much, because if it was a minor, you can, to that extent, there is no list between the two sides. If it was a minority institution as on the date in 1950, then it will continue to be a minority institution.
Lord, the difficult.
Because they have challenged, some of them have challenged the 1981 amendment also.
Yes, that's the issue, bro. That I'll come to that, my lord. And there, when the bill was introduced, it was introduced on the ground that Congress had that in the election manifesto.
That was
the ground. And there is a beautiful opposition by an eminent parliamentarian who was an eminent counsel of this court, Somnath Chatterjee, that you can't do this. This is not the way you take away basis of the judgment. I'll come to that. But, my lord, there are only 35 persons who can be Muslims out of 189 as on date. Who can be Muslims, for what I am saying. Mandate, no mandate that they have to be Muslims. For example, my lord, representatives of alumni, past alumni. But there are all community students who are studying here. They have engineering college, management college, medical college, everything. Maybe other community people may represent that constituency of alumni. Two persons representing Urdu language, my lord, for example. He may not be a Muslim, my lord, but an expert in Urdu. There are people who are experts in Urdu. They can, my lord, be the representatives. So, therefore, I carefully use the word need not be Muslim. The law doesn't require them to be Muslim. But 39, 35 people, 37 people may be Muslim. I am against, they also don't require Muslim. Please, my lord, come to page, page 8.
What is the reason to bring in representatives of Muslim culture and learning?
There is one of the subjects. The way, my lord, other subjects are taught.
Why do they at all have to bring in people who are representatives of Muslim culture and learning? Or what is the need to bring in, say, representatives of the All India Muslim Education Conference? What is the genesis of that?
My lord, if your lordship sees, there are several subjects being taught. Lord, in there is, my lord, a separate constituency, representatives of teachers other than chairman and department and principals of colleges. So they have representation. Chemistry will have a representation, medicine, biology, etc., etc. But one of the, my lord, subjects out of several is Muslim theology and Muslim culture. Therefore, they have representation. But therefore, it does not say, the provision does not say they will be Muslims. Muslim Cultural Association will send 5 people. They may be Muslims. They may send others also. Therefore, I say what is required as per Kerala Education Bill is sprinkling of outsiders. This is not sprinkling of outsiders. This is predominant outsiders. If I may use that expression, nobody is an outsider, but predominant non-minority people. Yes, I'll now, my lord, come to, my lord, I'll just show the chart, my lord. My lord, the Chief Justice also, my lord, desired that there has to be on one page how the amendment took place. My lord, first in 51, 65, 72, 81. So we have prepared that chart. It won't take more than 5 minutes because we have depicted the amendment in different colors. So your lordship would get only in 5-7 minutes. My lord. The amendments.
Section 9 was amended in 51 or 59?
The pattern.
Section 9, that
50.
amendment, 51.
50. My lord, your lordships may see the legend on the top. Black is original act, my lord, as it stood. I'm sorry, my lord. What is in black is as it stood when the act was passed. Red is 51 amendment. Orange is 65 amendment. Gold is 1972 amendment. And green is 81 amendment.
All right.
Lord, the relevant would be